Consider One Another is a podcast focused on each other. Thank you for tuning in to this podcast that is all about stirring up love and good works in one another. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. I'm so grateful you are tuning in today. Today I'm sitting down with my dear friend Tim Warrington, and I wanted to say this in opening. I've never told Tim this, but I thought I'd tell all of you. Tim was the person I was most nervous about moving out here because Tim wasn't here the first time I preached out here and I kind of tried out. Tim was somewhere, I don't know, underway, likely Guam or I don't know where you guys go. That's classified, I suppose. But he wasn't here. And so I was like really nervous about this, big deal chief of the Navy guy who I didn't know, and I didn't know what he'd think about me. But now me and Tim are good, dear friends, and we're recording a podcast together. So Tim, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
These podcasts, I want to say thank you so much for all the positive feedback, for people who listen, for people who participate. I know it's a nerve-wracking thing sometimes, but it's cool when we get to do it together and support each other. So when you hear something that you like, thank you for telling me that, but also go tell the person that you appreciate what they shared and go consider them by asking follow-up questions. Hopefully we learn a lot about Tim today. I'm sure we will, but we're going to start with Scripture. Luke 14 is where I'm at, Tim. I'm going to read just verses 8 through 14. I'll read the Scripture, and then you just share any thoughts that you have. Sound good?
Sound good.
When you are invited by anyone to a wedding feast, do not sit down in the best place, lest someone more honorable than you be invited by him. And he who invited you, and him come and say to you, give place to this man. And then you begin with shame to take the lowest place. But when you are invited, go and sit down in the lowest place, so that when he who invited you comes, he may say to you, friend, go up higher. Then you will have glory in the presence of those who sit at the table with you. For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will also be exalted. Then he also said to him who invited him, when you give a dinner or a supper, do not ask your friends, your brothers, your relatives, nor rich neighbors, lest they also invite you back, and you be repaid. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the maimed, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you, for you shall be repaid at the resurrection of the just.
I think it's important to notice that there's no position. Like in the Navy, there's rank structure. But here in the church, there's no I'm better than you, you're better than me. We're one. We're one family, and you can kind of see that. I get to cheat because I know that what you're going to ask me, so I know the prompts and the questions, but later on I'll tie it into some of the questions that you ask, that Jesus just flips the script. Like I said already, we're all made equal through Christ.
And that is exactly what I was hoping to accomplish by going to this place in Scripture. It's easy to think of people by rank. I mean, maybe you'll tell us more later, but when you look at military structures, it kind of is just simple. It makes sense. Like, hey, this is the structure. Me and Tim were just on a tour of the Nimitz with Wyatt. Shout out Wyatt. And all over the boat, they had like the rank of who's who and their faces and like who's in charge of who. And Wyatt would tell us, okay, that's like my boss. Like that's how it works. It would make sense for Jesus to come and flex about who's in charge and who's in charge under him, but instead he comes and makes us one, gets rid of the hierarchy, and flips it on its head, saying that not only are you all one in Christ, but when you are looking for people to invite to things, go invite the people who can't pay you back. And so this is one of my favorite pieces of Scripture on hospitality because it makes the goal so clear. And of course, I wanted to talk about this with Tim because you are setting up what I'm going to call marathon hospitality. This month of March that's coming up, you are going to have people over to your house for dinner every or almost every Sunday night, which is amazing. I think it's so awesome. But you tell me about what motivated you to do this and what we can expect in March.
Okay, so what we can expect is every Sunday, with the exception of the fourth Sunday singing, we'll have dinners at our house. Opened up to anybody and everybody that would like to come. It's not just people at the congregation. So if you have friends that you think would benefit from an interaction and fellowship like this, then by all means, please invite them. But really what it is we saw an opportunity with not having services on Sunday night for a fellowship. You only get maybe roughly 15, 30 minutes before and after services to be able to kind of fellowship and get to know your brothers and sisters. And to me, that's not enough time. Like the 30 minutes that you get to speak to me or I speak to you after services, that's like a surface level.
Yes.
So with this opportunity of now having dinners, we get to know each other more on a deeper and intellectual level, and actually get to know one another rather than just that surface.
The pew level is what I call it.
Yeah, pew level. That's good.
Hey, Tim, how are you today? Good. How are you, Will? And that's kind of it. And then someone else joins the conversation, like, hey, Josh, how are you? And then he's good too, and that's kind of it. And I love that you say to bring whoever. It's not like there's a guest list at the door, I don't think. Let them know you're coming. That's important.
Yes,
that way
please.
Tim knows how much steak to cook us. But for many people I know, being invited to a church service is just a little bit uncomfortable. But these meal settings throughout Scripture and probably throughout your own life is a place where barriers come down. People talk more naturally, and that'll be a great chance for us to connect to each other primarily. But secondarily, we've seen that success at men's dinners and men's breakfasts. Friends come along just to be with your church family is something a lot of people will probably be interested in. So, Tim, thank you for creating this environment. I'm sure you guys are excited or nervous.
Yes, a little bit of both. As I told you before, I don't know, we bit off more than we can chew. No pun intended. But we'll figure that out on the first Sunday of can we support it and manage it, or are we going to have to ask for help? Something else that I want to mention that I didn't mention before, kind of building off the theme of the podcast of considering one another. Not only do we want to be intentional about this fellowship, but we're also going to try and do some other things while also having the meal. So I haven't thought of something for every single Sunday, but at least one of them. I would like to have some cards for people that we know of that could benefit from having a card sent to them. And then as we're eating our meals or after we're done or beforehand, just send a little card. I'll have the cards. I'll have the labels of who we're sending them to. But if there's somebody else that you want to send it to personally that could benefit from it, then let's do that to let people know that we're thinking about them.
Yeah, I love that. It's not just coming together to hang out. That's good. Hanging out is good, and talking about football and whatever else. Curling is what I'm talking about right now. That's fine to do. That's good. That's all things in common. But we can elevate that a little bit by being intentional. And I love that word. This is a great time to consider someone else. Think about, hey, I haven't seen this person in a while, and then someone else might know why, and they'll be like, oh, like that, this person's just hurt their foot, and they've been bedridden. Like, oh, let's write them a card. Or, hey, we had this visitor today, and Will's got their visitor card. Let's write them a note saying, thanks for coming to church today. Those sort of things are things that I always say I'm going to get around to. But it's so much easier when we have other Christians, other brothers and sisters around us helping us with that. So together it's going to be better. And that's not possible without someone creating that environment. So again, thank you. I think it's awesome what you're doing. Is there anything else we need to do? Do we need to bring something? Should we bring something? Like a potluck? It's not a potluck, right?
No, at this time right now, like I said.
At this time.
At this time, we may figure it out on that first Sunday that we actually need help. But as of right now, no, there's nothing that we need. I would just say we'll ask if we need something else. Okay,
yeah, so stay posted. But for now, Tim is cooking for all of us. Come on by. Let him know that you're coming. And then just be flexible. If something changes, we'll be ready for a potluck or for however else we can kick in.
If you like spaghetti, tacos, sliders, and baked potatoes, those are the meals for the month of March. So
baked potatoes is so fun. I love that. Like a baked potato bar, kind of. Yep. Okay. Awesome. This is really exciting. Tim and Michaela are hospitable folks. I've been over to their house many, many times, but probably not with the whole congregation being invited. So this is special whenever this gets to happen. I could talk about the Warringtons all day long, but let's move on to something else about Tim. You mentioned questions that were coming later about the Navy and your time spent there. Maybe I'm grasping at straws here. I don't think so. But I'm fascinated about this connection between Navy life and how that affects your involvement in the church. A lot of people like to talk about getting things done, but Tim is a guy who likes to actually get things done. Hence, he's having the whole congregation over for a whole month. He likes to get things done, and I like that about him. And I'm wondering if there is a connection there. Maybe there's not. But do you see any parallels or connection between your leadership in the Navy and your desire to get things done in the church?
I would say this is probably the toughest prompt or question that I had, and I actually had to ask Michaela to kind of help me out with this.
Okay.
But I can definitely see some similarities. In the Navy, we're always preparing for something, whether it be a certification, a deployment. There's always something. There's always a deadline that we're trying to meet. And if nobody steps up and handles the tasks that need to be done, then nothing happens. And missed deadlines, at least in the military, are not an option. So the same principle kind of applies with the church. If I assume that you're taking care of something and you assume that I'm taking care of something, then nothing's going to get done. So making sure that we have a person accountable that, hey, they said they're going to do that, let's help them out, or hey, let's do that, rather than just making it an idea and then all we have is a bunch of ideas and nothing ever gets done. Another kind of leadership style that I saw or can see similarities with, growing up, my dad always said, you got to make a decision. And I can kind of see that in the church as well. Right or wrong, obviously there are some wrong, like scriptural things, but a decision has to be made. And if you don't make that decision, then you're never going to move. You're going to be just stuck in that same spot for the entire time. So whether it's like us making meals in March or just for planning a area-wide singing, those things happen not because somebody didn't do anything, but because somebody said, okay, let's do it. So having that action that let's go do this is very beneficial and very needed in the congregation in the Lord's church. And with that being said, as much as I can plan or think I can plan a month of meals or congregational singing, I don't know everything. I don't know how to do everything. So I know that, and that's something that I've kind of learned from just being in the Navy too, is I don't have to know how to do everything. I just need to know the right people to ask. And that's one thing that I've loved about the church, is that anybody and everybody is willing to help. You just have to ask. And some people, they don't know how to help, and therefore they don't help. And they just need that little push to get them to strengthen their faith.
This is fascinating to me. Months ago, I don't even know how many months ago, but months ago, I sat down with Michaela Warrington, and we had this theme of T's going on. Like everything she kept saying came back with T's. It was like trust, teachability, and toughness. That was the episode. Go check it out. And now as Tim is answering these questions, we're getting a whole bunch of D's. I've got deadlines, decisions, and doing things. Oh, I love that. I could preach a whole sermon right now just on that, but I won't. I love what you've said. The deadlines. It's easy to not have deadlines in this church setting. We just think, we'll talk about that next Sunday or next Wednesday, and then before you know it, it's 2027. And this idea you had was great, but it just never really happened. There's just no urgency, there's no deadline, so it just gets pushed off. And in that, it's really its own type of decision. Like you got to make a decision at some point, because if you don't make a decision, that's its own decision. You've decided to stay stuck.
Yep.
You're not doing anything. So I love the imagery here as we move on to doing things. It's hard to know what you need help with if you're just standing still. If you're just waiting for the perfect stars to align to do something, it'll just never happen. But you start moving. Tim said, stay posted. Maybe it will turn into a potluck. I don't know yet. But you got to start. You got to start. And then week 1 could be a disaster. Knock on wood. And we could find out, okay, we forgot drinks. And that's okay. But we'll get someone on that next time and it'll be okay. But you got to start doing things to know what you need help with. And then you can ask.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there are the parallels and similarities. Deadlines, decisions, and doing things just happens in the Navy. And I really think that's led you to who I see, because I'm really curious with this question. Tim is in uniform right now, and I love seeing Navy Tim, because I don't know that guy. I'm not in the Navy, but I sure would like to. Is like Navy Tim, like that guy who just came here from work, is he very similar to the Tim that we know, or is there like a different Tim that comes out when it's time to be Senior Chief Tim?
That's a loaded question.
Okay, you can plead the fifth.
That's classified.
Okay, even better.
No, I'd say there is. Michaela gets on to me a lot about this, because I'll talk to her sometimes or try to explain something or say something to her, and she's like, I'm not one of your guys.
Oh.
So I have to take that step back and realize this is not the professional manner, or this is my wife I'm talking to, not one of my
guys,
my division guys.
Right.
I would like to say that I'm the same that you see here, both in uniform and out of uniform. But I think that would be more of a question that you would have to ask my division.
Okay.
As far as I know, they haven't had any issues with me. I mean, maybe they say that behind closed doors or whatever, but I would like to think that I'm the same regardless of being in uniform or not in uniform.
Okay. And of course, the question hints at my answer to this. I think there is connection there. But I am curious because there is a time and place for different types of styles of leadership. But underneath, I do see the same tracking idea of, hey, we got to do stuff. And we'll sit around the table and I'll say, that's a good idea. And then Tim will always be the one to push it to the next thing. Okay, when? And then March 1st is when. That's how you start doing things. So however strong the connection is there, it's interesting to me, and I'm grateful for the way you lead at this church by example. I talked to Michaela about this on the podcast, just about how you guys lead as examples. You've got a very young child, and you've got very busy lives, but you still make it here. You still make it here. You are still hospitable. You're still people who are working hard. That example goes so far in ways that affect me and my wife a lot. We want to be like the Warringtons. So I'll stop, again, just parading them with all my compliments. But I just have the utmost respect and love for this family. But because of that, it is easy for me to look past the challenges and struggles and just assume that everything is perfect and easy. Because when I see Tim walking into Bible class like he will tonight, just holding Layla, I'm like, wow, these guys just had the perfect, best life. But if you are open to it, let's dig into some of the challenges. Because there's been a lot of big life moments for you just in the last couple of years. Moving to Washington, getting married, becoming a father. Those sort of things don't come without challenges. So this is a loaded question, but what challenges stand out? And how have you learned through them? What have you learned through them?
So I'm going to say, I'm going to start with some military or things that like work-related challenges.
Yeah.
That kind of pour over into my not military challenges.
Perfect.
But as we already talked about deadlines and anything like that, we have moments of what's called a refit where we essentially take the boat apart and put it all back together and try and get it fixed up for getting underway. Okay. It's typically a finite number of days. So it's not like we have just a long time to do it.
There's a deadline.
There's a deadline.
Right.
And that pressure can get intense, but it's manageable. The harder issues that I struggled with were the personnel and the issues with the division. There are definitely times John and Kate or Liz and Luca or even Josh may have seen me step away to take a phone call about something that's happening at the boat. Mm-hmm. So kind of managing that work-life balance of, hey, I still have a life outside of the Navy. And as stressful as those times were, whether it be a refit or division or anything like that, I really do love it. I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't lose sleep over it. Mm-hmm. Because typically if there was something that I was having to deal with, a personnel issue, I would sit there when I'm trying to go to sleep and just kind of replay it in my head, hey, was I the best example, or did I give the right answer, or how did what I say or do impact this person's life, whether for better or for worse. Hopefully, I always try to lead with a Christ-like attitude and make sure that this may not come off as the nicest, but it needs to be said because it's better for you. So I was always wondering if I handled the situations right, and I think that helped me to be a better leader. I think learning to take care of them also helped me to be a better dad. But when Layla can actually talk and answer that question, I'll let her answer whether or not those are better for her. And then deployments and refits weren't just tough on me, but they were tough on Michaela. It's not very easy to get married and then immediately go underway or be deployed for 3 months with little to no communication except for an email here or there, and then there'd be times where I couldn't even send emails, so it was just her sending emails to me.
It's crazy. You could receive them.
Yep.
But she didn't know that.
Yep.
And that happened while you were engaged?
It happened while we were engaged and after we were married.
Oh,
we got married in January, and shortly after that, I was deployed.
Okay. And these refits happen while you're between underways.
Yep.
It's like right now you're on shore duty. That means you don't have to do the refit?
Correct. I'm no longer attached to a boat, so no longer have to go to sea.
Right, because you're on shore duty. Okay, I'm tracking. Maybe everyone else knew that, but now I'm tracking. Keep going.
But because of these limited communications, these moments of not being able to be together, definitely played into our relationship. There are probably times that I wasn't mentally or physically or spiritually there for her just because of, and this is not an excuse or anything like that, but the long hours. She probably can tell you that there'd be times where I'd go to work in the morning at 6 o'clock and I wouldn't come back until 2 a.m. So there's long days, and it was more or less just us seeing each other in passing, and having a new marriage where you only see each other like a couple of hours here or there before bed wasn't always easy.
No.
Which I think that right there has already helped me to learn to be present, to be there when I am there, and not just so in tune and focused with what's going on at work. I think shore duty is really helping me with that, to kind of step back and to be able to do those things and to be at home more often, a lot earlier. And then as far as being a dad, I joke every day that it's a challenge, but honestly, it's amazing. Getting to watch Layla grow and learn new things. I would say probably one of my highlights of the day, if I get the chance to go and pick her up because Michaela's still at work or something like that, going to pick her up at daycare, it's like I walk into the door and she sees me and her face just lights up, big smile, starts giggling or laughing, and then if she's not near me, she like sprint crawls towards me, and then just
she's pretty fast now.
She is, yeah, she's getting fast, and then she just like sits down at my feet and trying to like climbs up my leg. So that's been really nice being able to do that. And then kind of with the challenge of being a dad, I know I've told Luca this once or twice before, and maybe I told you, but the first couple of months I did not enjoy, like
being a dad.
Not I enjoyed being a dad. I didn't enjoy the fact that Layla would cry in the middle of the night and not being able to fix why she's crying. I like to fix things, and Michaela will probably tell you that too. So changing her, feeding her, bouncing her, trying to get her to go back to sleep, and nothing would happen, to the point where I would probably be in there for 30 minutes, and then Michaela would get fed up because she couldn't sleep,
right?
Because she would hear Layla crying, and she'd come in and take Layla, and Layla would just stop crying. I'm like, I don't know how you do that. I envy the mothers that can just come in and the baby stops crying.
Right. You want to fix it.
Yeah, I want to be the one to figure out why she's crying and make her not cry. But I guess what I've learned from that, though, is patience, and lots of it, and understanding that I don't always have to fix things as much as I would like to let those that know how to fix those things. And then one that I've kind of mentioned before, both on Realm and in class, and I won't rehash it, but spending that week or so at Children's Hospital for whatever was going on with Layla, that really helped me to force me to rely more heavily on God, to make my prayers more intentional, and it also kind of strengthened them to make sure that I'm relying on God. I would say probably out of all of those, like the moving, the marriage, the fatherhood, and all that, I think the biggest thing that I've come to learn is that growth usually comes through pressure. And I'm grateful for all the opportunities that I've had, whether it be in the Navy, whether it be through the marriage or through raising Layla. It's all been one big learning experience, so I really appreciated all of it.
That's a lot right there. But you took us through it very well. Great job. The way you started with the work-life balance challenges and kind of spills into all the other things totally tracks with me, and it just makes me very grateful for people like Tim and Michaela who could do that, because that's crazy. Michaela told a lot of the story before being married and how you guys did that, being engaged with such little communication. It's crazy. And then you do get married and he's gone again, or he's at the boat the whole day, 6 to 2 in the morning, is just crazy. So I do think it is a testament to who you and Michaela are, that you're even here. So again, I love uncovering these sort of stories because, like I said, when I see them walking into church, it's easy to just look at the good part. There's Layla, there's Tim, there's Michaela, just a perfect family, and you don't see what's underneath. And it just makes you respect them so much more and makes you so much more grateful for a church family that desires to be with each other. So I kind of wish I could have known that Tim, who was on the boat and working those crazy hours, because now you're on shore duty, and I think the way you described it is you're kind of bored a little bit at times.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's a good time to be bored, because now you get to pick up Layla.
Yep.
Thank you for being vulnerable about those challenges. I want this podcast to be encouraging, but like you're saying, growth comes through pressure. And if we can learn from someone else's pressure and grow through it, it makes what you've gone through so much more profitable, that other people can learn from you and make me think about my prayers. How am I growing? What pressure am I facing? Who would I be under that circumstance? Maybe I can grow like you have without having to face the exact same trials and hardships that you've gone through. So that's why we want to consider one another and have all things in common. It happens through vulnerability, so thank you. We'll give it just a little bit of a lighter note before going on to our favorites. But on top of all these things Tim has talked about, being a father, being a chief in the Navy, being married, working all these hours, he's also going back to school. Tim is a college man. Tell us real quick, what's going on at college, what degree you're getting, and what you plan to do after that.
Okay, so I'm going to Thomas Edison State University online.
Okay.
My degree will be in electronic engineering and technologies.
Cool.
I'll have my bachelor's, hopefully. I'm trying to get it done end of this year, beginning of next year.
Okay.
I've just got a little bit left. Currently taking physics, and I have my midterm on Saturday.
Oh.
So this week was busy for me, trying to cram for that and then do this as well. And so,
thank you for. Now I feel bad.
No.
Pray for Tim on Saturday. Midterm. That's a big deal.
But I think through it all, the way that I can manage all of this is truly Michaela. She goes out of the way to make it easy for me to do these things. And I'll be honest, I'm not very good at spreading my assignments out throughout the week. Typically, I have 2 to 3 assignments a week, and I typically wait until either the day they're due or the night before they're due.
Wait for the deadline.
That's right, yeah, wait for the deadline. So usually there's probably 2 assignments due on Sundays. And so typically, I come home from church and eat lunch and then immediately go in and do those 2 assignments. So that will have to change for next week or next month.
You're right.
Yeah, I won't be able to do that.
You'll be man on the grill.
Yeah. So I'll have to get better at not procrastinating until then.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also start a second class in March, AC circuits. So that will be shocking and fun.
I love that you're bringing this out. And again, thank you for making time for this. But like we started with in the beginning, it's easy to push off things until the perfect time. The stars align or what have you. This would be a great time for you to not worry about anyone but yourself. Just surviving this next year or so and getting your degree would be a huge accomplishment. But Tim said, hey, who's gonna host people in their house with all this time we have on Sundays now? He looked around and he said, me, I'm going to. Even though it's probably not the most ideal time. So that homework is going to have to happen some other time. Yep. It'll have to happen some other time because he said, I'm doing this, and we'll make adjustments as we learn them. So good for you. I hope it goes well. I wish I could help you with physics. I don't know who to talk to for that.
Luca.
He's
definitely already helped me out for that.
Oh, great. Shout out. There we go. Now we're all working together. That's exciting, and I didn't know that about you until just recently. Let me just close here with what we all want to talk about. We all know your favorite hymn, but let's move on to your favorite verse in the Bible. Tim, favorite verse in the Bible, no pressure. What is it?
Galatians 6, 9, and 10.
Okay.
And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all, especially to those who are of the household of faith.
Let us not grow weary. There's a lot of things we talked about in the last 30 minutes that are good. But it's just easy to grow weary of doing good. And say, that's enough. We did March. No more hospitality ever. That was too much. Or any other good thing that you're working on. You say, I'm tired of this. It's easy to lose heart. So the encouragement from me to you, Tim, and from Tim to the rest of the congregation, don't lose heart. Keep doing good. And you guys know I love sowing and reaping in the Bible. Like, this is what you're sowing. Keep sowing those good things, and we will reap if we do not lose heart.
The reason why this is my favorite verse is because there's so much that we can get wrapped around. There's so much that we get busy with and forget that we can get worn out from it. Mm-hmm. And so making sure that we have our mindset in the right place, that, hey, what we're doing is not just for nothing. And sometimes we may not see the effects of what we do.
Yeah, the reaping.
Right. Like for me, being in the military, moving every couple of years, luckily I haven't had to, but it does happen. You may plant a seed and then have to move and not get to see that seed develop.
Yeah.
And so that can kind of make people grow weary of not getting to see the seed come to fruition. Mm-hmm. But I think that, as we see here, don't lose heart, that it's not for nothing. There is something that's going to happen and come from it to make sure we continue doing good.
Keep doing good. The seeds will grow themselves. That's not up to us. We'll sow the seeds. We'll keep doing good. Thanks for just making time for this today. That was a good thing. But now we're going to let the professor get back to his studies. He's got midterms coming up. Thank you for making the time for this and for being so vulnerable with us. That's what this podcast is all about. Tim, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Bible tells us to consider one another in order to stir up love and good works in each other. So thank you for stirring up love and good works in me just by listening to this episode.
When I was going through this with Michaela, I took your questions and kind of wrote down stuff that I thought I would say or whatever. And she's like, this is just a conversation.
Right.
It doesn't have to be scripted. And I'm like, that's not how my brain works. I have to have it written down and what I'm going to say exactly.